back from that, and thank you so much, Dr. James Komalafen, for those really priceless mental health tips. But like we promised on the show, we would be talking about breastfeeding. Today, the 1st of August, begins the Breastfeeding Week, the World Breastfeeding Week. It's there to give awareness to the many benefits of breastfeeding and how women all over the world can understand this and indeed breastfeed. It is said that more than 1 billion working women are not given essential maternal protection in national laws. Just 20% of countries require employers to provide employees with paid breaks and facilities for breastfeeding or expressing milk. It has become a very important issue to address. The World Breastfeeding Week it has as its theme enabling breastfeeding, making a difference for working parents. And in the studio to do justice to this is our regular medical doctor analyst who is Dr. Gabriel Nwala from the Limi Hospital, Abuja. You tell us why women should breastfeed and how long they should breastfeed and how important it is. Thank you so much for being part of the program.
Thank you for having me once again.
Good morning, Dr. Gabriel. Welcome. When they said Dr. Gabriel is coming out, like, no, why is he the one talking about breastfeeding? I was expecting the female doctor to come talk to us. Dr. Gabriela. But of course, it's very good when we see, the male gender getting involved in this.
Because it's not just a women thing.
Mm-hmm.
The husbands as well.
The psychosocial support. If a woman is breastfeeding and needs all this support she can get, the man should be by the side encouraging her to breastfeed. Even when she needs to, take some time out and rest, the husband should be able to, feed the, little one with expressed breast milk. So there are a couple of things that the man can also do to ensure that working mothers actually give their babies breast milk.
Talking about working mothers, we've been celebrating the World Breastfeeding Week for the past almost 31 years, since 1992. That's when we started celebrating it. And it's one of those few international days that are actually a week long. It's not just one day. It's always the first week in the month of August. But we're looking at the focus now on working mothers. The maternity rule in Nigeria is 4 months maternity break. Fathers have been given, I think, 3 weeks or 4 weeks, not even up, no, 2 weeks.
1 to 2 weeks.
2 weeks paternity leave. 2 weeks paternity leave,
yes.
Which I think is still very ridiculous to support a breastfeeding mother. And what they tell most women when they go for their antenatal pre-having a child is you're expected to breastfeed exclusively for 6 months. And then you're also expected to breastfeed till at least when your child gets to 24 months, which is 2 years. And I'm going to use myself as an experience. My first son was about 1 year plus, 1 year, 3 months, and I was still doing the breastfeeding. And then he's playing around in the party. Children's, they have birthday parties every 1 year. And then this little boy would just walk up and they want to grab it. So my friend's like, no, it's okay. He don't reach the stuff. So, but how feasible is it for most working mothers
to breastfeed,
especially when we take into cognizance the necessity of breastfeeding, especially for those 6 months, to actually do it for 6 months and even continue to the year, 24 months? Yes.
Okay, so let me try and combine the questions Joy raised with yours. Okay, the theme of this year's Breastfeeding Week is let's make breastfeeding at work. So all the things that need to be done, from the legislations to the policies, even to the mothers or the parents, as it were, ensuring that working mothers actually breastfeed their children should, be everything needs to be done so that the global efforts at ensuring that children are optimally breastfed, it's actually achieved. So a newborn baby should be given breast milk, not water or any other thing, except if it's medically indicated, for the first 6 months. Then continued with other complementary feeds till at least 2 years. Some literature will say 2 years or more.
Wow.
So if you can do beyond 2 years, it's fine, because there are so many, you.
We're laughing as mothers.
Yes, because if we start talking about the benefits of breast milk now, we will not leave here from the cognitive, gains. Most children that are optimally breastfed are, very, very smart compared to
I
those.
read that and I was wondering how. They said they're smarter, they make more money when they grow up, they have better business acumen. And I was like, how much breast milk did I drink? How come I don't have enough money now? So does it really, do what it says it does?
If you look at, there are a lot of, documented pieces of evidence that exclusive breastfed children or optimally breastfed children now, are smarter than those that were formula fed. The reason being that there are a lot of things in breast. In fact, infant formulas now are now being fortified with what we call DHA. DHA is one polyunsaturated fatty acids that help the brain development. And 80% of the brain forms within the first 2 years of life.
Okay.
So if a child gets breast milk that has this DHA in appropriate quantity, it ensures that the brain develops optimally. So the more the brain develops, the more the child will be able to have a very sharp acumen and be very, be able to, have all the, even including the money you are talking about, because it's somebody that is smart, that will know how to navigate through rough times.
I didn't drink enough breast milk. I think I didn't drink enough breast milk.
And one of the challenges we have nowadays, is actually people not really understanding the benefits of breast milk. Like when, the experience you had a year, 3 months, and people cajoling you, that's, is enough, that you shouldn't be doing that. Some kids don't even help matters. You find, you are in a...
It's really very embarrassing. And so for the first one, how you have your first child, your first son, so I did for 1 year, 4 months. The second one, 1 year, 2 months, I'm like, no, it's okay. Because it's really very embarrassing. Of course, we also know that it affects the intimacy between couple.
Yes.
When the mother is lactating and then she has a partner. So how do we marry and balance all of this?
All those ones can be, it's just the companionship or the partnership, if you like, is a lifelong one.
Okay.
2 years out of, the whole lifelong journey won't, shouldn't affect the company. There are other things, there are other really buttons to play on the keyboard. It mustn't
I had to
just
get you
be
there, right? It mustn't just be there.
The,
but let's come back to making legislation, because that's what we're focusing on. How to encourage the working class woman. We know the benefits, and of course we keep reeling out the benefits and the importance in terms of child development for breastfeeding. But unfortunately in Nigeria, we don't have, especially in government-owned offices, those kind of scenarios where either you have where mothers can go, small crèches in their offices where they can go and breastfeed. They can go after they resume from work after 4 months. They can breastfeed. I used to express milk, and it's very difficult. Sometimes it doesn't flow when you want it to flow. I know they're making more modern equipment now that helps, pump the breast milk to get it out. But it's really very tasking for a lot of working class mothers. And of course, you will agree with me that the number of working class mothers have increased in the past 10 years. So it also makes this a handicap. What kind of legislation should we be expecting government to do to promote safe breastfeeding for children even up to the ages of 2 with working class mothers?
Okay, so let me start from the a number of things can be done.
Okay.
One of which will be extending the maternity leave period.
Okay.
So that's what UNICEF and WHO are actually pushing.
Okay.
If the mother is able to have up to 6 months to herself or more, she will be able to do this exclusive breastfeeding.
Okay.
You know, well, we are looking at 18 weeks now compared to what we have. The 4 months that you
16 weeks.
This 16 weeks you talked about is the last trimester of the woman's pregnancy is inclusive. So if you take out maybe 1 month or maybe 2 months, depending on when the mother proceeds on maternity leave,
yeah.
it makes it quite difficult for the exclusive breastfeeding, to be achieved.
Yes.
So the period of, that maternity leave can be extended,
okay,
if possible, from, by the government. That's looking at it from the, legislative angle.
Yeah.
But, businesses will now not want to hire
women.
Pregnant women,
married
women,
not even
of course, because
women,
married means she's going to get pregnant.
If you remove 6 months from somebody's,
especially when you have
paid leave, then it will affect the work, as it were.
Okay.
But by the time we get there are other things that can be done. They can work from home and some other things. Okay. Now, if they should resume before the end of these 6 months, the office space should actually accommodate them and their kids. There should be provision for newborn babies,
exactly,
crèches, or even if it's not a crèche per se,
right,
have
just
a room,
have
a space where nursing mothers can have their babies by the side while they work. So that's another thing that can be ensured.
Wouldn't that also reduce productivity?
No, women are known to multitask effectively. A mother that wants to put her heart to her work can also take care of the newborn baby while doing that work. That has been documented. So just provide them with the enabling atmosphere, because if the mother is at work and left the baby with a nanny at home, her mind will not be at the workplace. So that might affect her productivity. But if the baby is close by and she can, check on the baby from time to time, it will help, ultimately to ensure that her productivity level doesn't drop. So that's another thing that can be done. Then the other people around her, both at her workplace, even at home, should give her the enabling support to ensure that she continues breastfeeding while, she also does her work or any other thing that she's doing. Once that's psychosocial support, the African society, in their wisdom, had this omugwo, arrangement where the mother comes in and stays with the,
the daughter
or the daughter-in-law that just put to bed throughout that period, so that all the cookings and other things that would have taken a toll on the woman will be eased off, so that she concentrates on the newborn baby. Then there are other additional things that the mother can do as well. That you're working is not an excuse, for you not to breastfeed your baby. There are a number of things that you can do. Even if you're not lactating appropriately or adequately, you can still, there are things that can enhance your breast milk production.
So what can enhance? Because
I'll come to that. I just want to talk about all the things that can be done, including the, expression of breast milk. There are techniques. Most mothers don't know how to express. It's not really about the breast milk pump and the rest of them, because the breast milk pump is produced in a particular way that will fit snugly to a particular contour of breast. So if somebody has a breast that can't fit into the breast pump, all the efforts at trying to express breast milk will be futile. So, but God has given us hands, a pair of hands that can be used to express breast milk.
Are you serious?
Yes, there are. When you look
Oh,
at
wow.
when you look at the breast now,
It feels painful in my head.
no,
It's not. That's
Now
what worked for
there
me.
is the there is the nipple and there is the areola.
Okay.
Now underneath the areola is where the lobules are.
Okay.
The lobules are like the reservoir or the storage tank, if you like, of breast milk. So once you press the areola up and down, the breast milk will come out in a jet-like form. So the two things that needs to be done is to grab the breast around the areola area, push it back a bit, on the chest wall, then press on both sides, you see how the stored breast milk will gush out. So once that is done, it's not painful.
Okay.
But if you try to express the breast around the nipple area, you end up, hurting yourself, and that's the one that is really painful.
Okay.
So if breast milk is expressed and kept on the table, not stored, it can last up to 8 hours without spoiling.
Yes, that
so
much I know.
the mother can go to work, leave the expressed breast milk, for the baby to, feed from, and any person around, nanny or the mother, can feed the baby with the breast milk when baby is hungry.
Okay.
Now, if the express breast milk is refrigerated, it can stay up to 24 hours without spoiling.
Okay.
Then if you freeze it, it can stay up to 3 months.
Oh, wow.
So you can even travel for conferences or for work engagements with adequate, volume of breast milk stored in the freezer, and you can be rest assured once you have somebody that can, help thaw
it up.
So
how do they thaw it?
Okay, just put.
I know the conventional way, maybe hot water in a cup and
just hot water in a cup, and now put the frozen breast milk in there.
Okay.
So after like 3 to 5 minutes, you stir, touch it at the back of your palm, and once it's warm, if it's not hot, you can give the baby at that point.
Okay. Dr. Wala, I'm sure you've heard about young ladies these days, the contemporary Nigerian women who say their breast will sag if they breastfeed. And in fact, they even go ahead getting surrogates who breastfeed for them. Is there a risk to this?
Okay, so let me handle the question in two ways. I will talk about relactation. So if for any reason the mother cannot breastfeed, let's say there are issues with her health, or she's on some medications that are secreted in breast milk that may affect the baby, and because of that she can't breastfeed. In that kind of scenario, any female that has breast can breastfeed the baby.
Right.
Any female that has a breast, or a woman who has had a baby?
No, whether the woman has had a baby or has not had a baby. Once any breast is suckled on, continuously for 2 weeks, it will start, producing milk.
This is a miracle.
It's there.
No, I find it very, very interesting. I would never, as much as I like to think I grab knowledge, I would never have thought it. What I would have felt was it has to be someone who's also lactating, so the person is able to feed your child.
That can work.
But you're saying any woman, whether she's had a child or not.
These bodies are just a product of hormonal changes. So the more the breast is suckled on, the more some of the hormones that help in both milk production, storage, and letdown are released.
Interesting.
So once that is done, breast milk will flow. So the grandmother can breastfeed.
Yeah.
Let's say the mother, was lost in the process of childbirth. The grandmother can breastfeed. The sister of the baby,
menopausal grandmothers.
once they are a pair of breasts, once they are glands, it's just the
Right.
I'm
glands
finding
that
this extremely interesting and
Okay.
enlightening.
So the other one,
Oh,
the other thing I
wow.
wanted to talk about is these
cosmetics,
concerns
yeah.
about whether the breast will fall or not. Now there's this law of
We
gravity.
don't call it falling, we say
Okay.
sagging.
Okay. So sorry about that. So the law of gravity will set in
Natural.
whether you breastfeed or not. Once there are fibrous bands that are holding the glands and all that.
That would naturally weaken.
Yes, once they get weak, sagging will happen. So whether somebody has
Has children or
has,
not,
has,
or
has children or not,
breastfed or
once
not.
the person's age gets to a particular point, it will come down.
Right.
Yeah.
But in this is there a risk if you allow your child to be breastfed by another person? Are there
Well, as well,
associated
the only
risks?
thing we are worried about, are drugs. If the mother is on medications that are secreted in breast milk, that are not safe for the baby.
Talking about
we
drugs, let's talk about parents who are mothers who are infected with maybe HIV or AIDS, and then they have to breastfeed their children. Is it something that it's worrisome, especially if she's on antiretroviral drugs? Will the antiretroviral drugs pass through? I know that we were told when the mother is on hard drugs, narcotics and all those things, when she breastfeeds, there's a tendency
baby
that
can
some of
take-
those things can get in.
Yes.
But those are substance abusers. I'm talking of for medical need, like antiviral drugs, antiretroviral drugs for HIV patients or mothers. Will the virus, can it be passed from mother to child through breastfeeding?
Okay. So there is some risk of transmission through
Okay.
breast milk.
Okay.
Between 5 to 15%. But you also look at it risk benefits wise. You look at the benefits of breast milk over the risk of breast milk in such children.
Okay.
Now you're looking at both, any mother that has suffered from any condition at all has antibodies produced by the person
Okay.
against those conditions. So when they breastfeed, the child is getting antibodies against whatever condition it is. So the risk of diarrhea, diseases, pneumonia, allergies are all there. And we are talking about developing countries like ours, where, with this subsidy removal, channeling the, family resources to other things, the mother using infant formula means extra cost for the family. And breastfeeding will be economical for them, helping them save off money in that regard. Now, once the child is breastfeeding, there's what we call post-exposure, prophylaxis. A baby that is delivered from a HIV positive mother is placed on an antiretroviral drug for up to 6 weeks.
Okay.
Now, if that's, in fact, the current teaching now is once the child is positive, you continue on the, you start the antiretroviral drugs and continue on it. You don't need to wait until a certain period. That was the practice before.
Okay.
Once you have that, you have to,
Commence
the treatment
immediately.
But even if the mother is breastfeeding and you have that fear that some of the viruses could have been secreted, then the child being on the post-exposure prophylactic medication will ensure that these viruses don't replicate, and the chances of it getting established in the baby will be slim. Now, the mother herself also needs to be on HART, because the more the mother is on HART and compliant on the highly active retroviral therapy, the slimmer the chances that she will transmit it. So on the mother's
I was
part,
trying to figure out what HAT was, so I had to write it down. I said, so highly something retroviral drugs. Okay.
so once the mother is on, okay, let's just say antiretroviral. Let's just
Oh,
use
go ahead and
ARV.
HAT. We've
So,
learnt the HAT now. Yes.
so if the mother is on the medication, the viral load is kept low, and the chances of transmitting it will be very, very minimal.
Right.
Okay.
That's on the mother's part.
So she
Now,
can go ahead
she can
and
go
breastfeed.
ahead and breastfeed. While breastfeeding, because of the risk of these viruses being, transmitted through the breast milk, the child should also be on the nevirapine, for the period of time the mother is on, is giving the child breast milk. And the way they wean off is not like how, other...
The regular person.
Yes. So once she stops now, she just stops and, starts infant formula. Then 4 weeks after, the baby is tested whether there's any, the virus has been picked up. So that's while awaiting the results, the child should also be on the antiretroviral, so that when the test comes out and there's nothing,
Then they stop.
Child is safe.
Let's look at the demography of breastfeeding among women in Nigeria. It is automatically assumed that women in the rural area would breastfeed their children more than, urbanized or working class women. And of course, this year's theme, we're focusing on working class women. Is there a discrepancy between the number of working class women who actually breastfeed their children, despite the fact that they do know that this is beneficial for the child in the long run, because it is assumed that they're more educated than their rural counterpart? Is there a disparity between that figure, or is just across board that most women do breastfeed?
Okay, there are a lot of variables that affect the figures that come from different areas. There are places where it has been the practice for mothers to breastfeed their babies, even up to the 2 years.
Exactly.
Some people learn from such settings where mothers breastfeed their babies for 6 months exclusively and continue with complementary feeds till 2 years. There are people that were doing that, in some localities before it was now adopted as the standard. There are also enlightened people that know the benefits of breastfeeding and on their own, decided to do that. There are also people within the elites class that feel that once they do for some time, they'll just be like, no, it's a bit stressful. It's impacting on my work. Let me just, since they can afford the infant formula, just go and get cartons of that, and when they can, they breastfeed. When they cannot, they just supplement with infant formula. So it's a thing of convictions. Those that are in the rural areas that are convinced that babies will benefit from breast milk do optimal breastfeeding. There are also those in the urban settings. So me, for one, I know that there are colleagues of me. I am a very strong believer.
You're a pro breastfeeder.
Yeah, so even my children were optimally breastfed.
For up to 2 years?
Yes.
I need to commend your wife.
It was
a battle.
Serious battle.
I can imagine. 2 years
sometimes, between me and my wife, sometimes even her mom will come and be teasing her, say, this one will soon start school. Come back from school and bring chairs. Say, mommy, come, I want to breastfeed. Since you people say you know better, just continue. So there are my colleagues now that will tell you, so when you're counseling mothers on the right thing to do, some other person will be by the side and say, I did not do that, or it's not feasible.
And see how you turned out.
See how you turned out. That's
so that's just it's a thing of conviction.
Yeah.
There are people in different settings that do. If you go to the rural areas, if you do surveys in some rural communities, you see some people in the villages that don't have the funds to even do the formula feeding. They'll
it
just
becomes
buy
a
one
necessity.
tin that will last for 2 weeks. By the end of the day, the child is malnourished.
Exactly.
Meanwhile, the breast milk is there to,
My
to be given
children
to the
came
child.
out lactose intolerant after when I thought I had done my 6 months and I could complement with formula, and they just would not accept formula at all. So yes, I was forced to go on and
breastfeeding.
on and on. But what are those meals women can take that would ensure that the breast milk is rich with nutrients and enhance it even better?
Okay, what the mother produces is just a function of her nutritional status. The body cannot manufacture
Give you what it does not.
nutrients from out of
Anywhere
space.
else,
So
yeah.
if you see a well-nourished mother that exclusively breastfed her baby, you see the baby looking very, very, very healthy.
Right.
But if you see a malnourished mother breastfeeding the baby, the baby will also look like that.
Yeah.
So we encourage that the mother should be, should eat balanced diet that will have all the, 7 classes of food, from the carbohydrates to the proteins to the vitamins, minerals,
Fats and
vitamins,
oils.
That's
I
what I
remember. I remember.
Once those nutrients are there in right proportion, baby will benefit from a balanced, milk. And another thing that needs to be noted is that breast milk, the composition of breast milk is not the same. There's what we call fore milk and hind milk. Fore milk is more of water and electrolytes. So if you express both breasts at the same time, you see that there's one that is lighter,
right?
then there is one that is thicker,
Thick and almost yellowish.
yellow.
That's
Yes.
the healthier
so
one.
that one is the hind milk.
Right.
That's the one that has a lot of proteins,
Yes, I
a
know
lot
that
of
one.
lactose. That's the the milk sugar. That's the lactose. So it's advised that a baby should get the hind milk first, then the fore milk thereafter.
Right.
So how you know which one will have the hind milk and which one will have the fore milk is just a question of skill. When you feel the two breasts, the one that looks flabby will have more of the hind milk.
Right.
So you should start from there.
Really?
The baby-
We
I
used to
always
do
do
the
it the
wrong
other way.
one.
So if
The
you
one
do-
that is heavier or fuller, you think you have so much milk there, so reduce this pain and then drink
So
from
if
there.
you do it that way, the baby will just drink water.
Oh no.
And 5 minutes later, baby will start crying. And most mothers will say, the breast milk doesn't hold my baby.
And
They
they'll
will
start
bring
infant
the
formula.
wrong
formula.
way.
So if you start from the one that is
Good
flabby,
information.
baby gets the one that is richer.
Good
Then
Right.
30 minutes later, now gets the one that is more of water. That will
Doc, we are
quench
really
the-
running out of time, but I have
Okay.
one question, very
Okay, so
important
I
one.
wanted to talk about the food that can enhance
Right,
breast milk
okay,
production.
okay.
There are what we call lactogenic feeds or food, if you like. So things like carrots, things like Quaker oats.
Please
things
don't
like
call Oyibo food. I
Okay.
call Nigerian
It's
food. I
a
want to
pap-
hear things like Uda,
pap,
Oziza, Pap,
so
Akamu.
Oda,
Call
pap,
local food.
flute,
I don't know what
Flute.
Uda is.
Oda, okay.
Uda is Uda.
We need to get Oda is the name now. If it's a white person now, a white person will just tell you the name, the
It's not
native
black,
name of their
it's
district, and
black.
will just.
They always use it when they make pepper
There's
soup.
this spice, some of the spices that are used to prepare
Yeah,
yam
yeah,
pepper
yeah.
soup.
Yes, when you give
That
birth.
dark, long.
That's
things
Uda.
like,
Oh yes, I think I know it.
So that's
I know
Uda.
it. Right.
So it's lactogenic. So our mothers,
Our mothers
knew
those
it
days,
well
in their
before.
wisdom,
Yes.
knew that once
That's why when you have a baby,
prepare
they
pepper
always do all
soup
of that.
with that kind of,
Yes.
those kind of spices, it enhances breast milk production.
Right.
Fluids generally, and I must mention at this point, there are things that are also anti-breast milk production. Alcohol,
Don't take palm
wine,
like they often
small
do.
stouts, beer, all those dry gin and all that.
They said small
What happens
They
is,
lied to
they
us.
are diuretic.
Okay.
When you take them, they will make you urinate a lot.
Okay.
Right.
So
So
the
you
more
now
you
feel like
urinate,
you're losing
the
more
more fluid that would have been used to, make breast milk
Okay.
will
Okay.
not be available.
I really wanted to ask this
So-
one question. Is breast milk beneficial to an adult male? Because some people now go there and attack their children when their mother.
You don't even have the guts to
That
look
one-
at him
that
and ask the
one,
question. Dr. Gabriel Wala, I must behalf on, I'll tell Joy to take a bow now, and then we'll say thank you so much. I was
Thank
going to
you.
ask what you had planned up for the 7 days for these activities. Is Limi Hospital doing anything? Are there celebrations? It's a 1-week celebration, so if you can just wrap it up in like a few seconds.
Okay.
What's the hospital doing to
Okay,
celebrate
so
this?
part of what we, we, even if we try to put up some, events and all that for the mothers that will come to the hospital, that will just be the tip of an iceberg compared to the number of women, that can potentially breastfeed their young ones, optimally. So these radio, we have a lot of radio and
So you're
television
just
and
for
lighting
advocacy,
sensitize
so that we
people.
reach a wider.
Great job.
Yes,
Great
a,
job.
a wider
We have to say
audience.
thank you so much. Dr. Gabriel Wala from Limi Hospital, Abuja, is a medical doctor and also one of our favorite medical
Regular
people to talk
medical
to. So
person.
thank you once more for being on ASO Morning.
Thank you for having me.